Hey there, it is 2:01 UTC, running terribly late uh, tonight. Got talking to Bobby a little bit, and you know lost track of time. That's what happens. So yeah, but here we are again. Welcome, friends. Come on in, Bobby. What's going on over there?
Nothing much. We got a little bit of heat advisory earlier today.
Yeah. Well, that is the peril of living in the northern um, half of this planet this
Well, it's
time of year.
southeast.
Yeah, but being in the north, that's what's going to happen this time of year. So yeah, yeah, it's monsooning around here. We're I think we're going to miss it tonight, but storms are all around, and wind is blowing out there, and yeah, it's
Yeah, and the heat is supposed to be going like all throughout the weekend and throughout the next week and stuff.
that's cool. That's cool. All right, everybody, come on in. I'm gonna. Ooh, I need to stop this live stream on the Linux machine. Otherwise, the Linux machine will freeze. I still don't know why that happens. Drives me insane. And I'm going to look at the chat. Uncle Bill is there and Tom is there. Hey, nice to see you in the chat.
Welcome, welcome.
Hope all is well. Yeah, yeah. So, you know, first thing that I want to mention is that July 20th, which is what it actually is right now, it's 2:03 UTC on July 20th, 2018. And that's a pretty that's a pretty special day um, for all of us, right? Uh, on July 20th, well, I'll say this a different way. 49 years ago, on July 20th, 1969, one of us humans, actually a couple of us, first walked on the moon. And so that is that's sort of a great occasion. I don't think that the 49th anniversary of that is any is any less than the 25th or the 50th or the 10th. You know, all those designations are arbitrary, right? Um, but it's a fact that 49 years ago, uh, we we humans did what we wanted to do for a really long time. So because it's just I mean it's right there. It's like, come on. I mean, how hard can it possibly be, right? But uh, so I mean, it took us a while, but I think that uh, event was really the culmination of a lot of at least Western culture and society. Was I'm looking at that moon, and it's just giving us the finger because it's like, you can't touch me. And I think I think we've wanted to do that for a long time, and I I definitely think I say this all the time, right? Just like what Carl Sagan said, we don't destroy ourselves. Um, we're in for a really interesting future. That I mean, you can see how things are um, exponentially changing. That's why I always say that change changes, and exponentials. The derivative of any exponential is just another exponential. So change does change, and it's just getting, you know, totally amazing. But we're in this balance, right? Where you've got a few crazies, right? That just don't seem to get it, and unfortunately, those are the ones that have their fingers on the button, right? It's like, whoa, But I think it's a race. I think it's a race. You know, uh, not everybody has to, you know, uh, realize that it could be really, really interesting. I can't say better, but it would definitely be interesting. One of the concepts that I've been thinking about a little bit um, is a topic that um, Isaac Arthur talks about from time to time on his YouTube channel. Cheers, by the way. He talks about the post scarcity society. Uh, you know, it's the idea that Buckminster Fuller talked about. Um, it's something that I think is possible. But Isaac Arthur, he brings up a lot of interesting points, and I'm not going to get into this, but um, just you know start thinking about what it would be like. What would life be like if if you didn't have to worry about getting anything you either needed or wanted? Because um, that's what a post scarcity society is. There is no scarcity anymore. Um, you don't have to do anything to have everything you want uh, or need. So it's like, well, what is life like under those kinds of conditions? And so yeah, and Isaac Arthur, he does bring up some interesting points which I don't recall at the moment, but some of the, I guess you call it, negative aspects um, of that, but yeah, I don't know. I think it's an interesting thing to think about, and I actually think that there are probably some interesting, like sci-fi books that could be written on that topic. I don't. I'm uh, Unfortunately, I am not really following the current modern sci-fi uh, community in any way. I probably should, because I'm kind of interested. I'm uh, I sort of just read all the old stuff, right? I mean, I'm doing Heinlein and Asimov and Bradbury and Clark and what are some other ones that I've got? I've got I've got most of the Dune books, but I'm not incredibly impressed with Dune. Um, I mean, it's cool and all. I'm trying to see if I've got any other books. I've got a bookshelf up above you where you are. Then I've got two bookshelves over here, and then I've got these books back here, which I've actually pruned in the past week. I've pruned quite a few out of there that it's like, am I ever going to really look at this? It's like, probably not. Oh, and then I've got bookshelf up here, to my right. Yeah. So I'm trying to see other, but yeah, so I'm following sort of the old guys, right? The old sci-fi stuff. I'm not really. Uh, I haven't really followed any of the new stuff, and I probably should because, as I said, I think this concept of a post-scarcity society, um, I think that you could do some pretty interesting things in terms of sci-fi. So somebody should get on that. What do you think about that, Bobby?
So like you got books of old, but not books of new, right?
What's that again?
So you got like old sci-fi books you never kept up to date with the new ones yet.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I just, you know, uh, I haven't really looked at any new sci-fi for, wow, it's probably 10 years or so. I haven't really looked at anything new. So maybe I should. Maybe I should. I don't even know where to look anymore. Is like wasn't there a uh, like a periodical like Asimov magazine, or I don't remember exactly. But yeah, what do you think of this uh, uh, society where everything that you want and need, uh, you can have, right? I
And
mean, what does that even look like? I don't know.
I don't know. It's never too late to go back into the world of sci-fi and start reading some new sci-fi books.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm kind of interested in seeing if
Yeah.
anyone has covered that topic. So
Mm. Now, do you
anyway, it's
have a library at your area?
a what?
A library.
I don't have a library nearby. No. Uh-uh.
Because if you had a library, like my library, you could have like digital ebooks that you can put on an e-reader, audio books that you can put on an MP3 player.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
got
yeah.
a lot of that.
Yeah, that's an interesting thought is to uh is to listen to the audiobooks. Cuz I'm traveling not very much, maybe 45 minutes a day or so.
Why
Um
don't you get an Audible?
so yeah, yeah. That's an interesting thought. That's an interesting thought. Maybe I'll consider that because yeah, I'd sort of like to uh, see what's going on in the modern sci-fi. Is it all um, um, dystopian? Post World War. Survival. um, I mean, it doesn't. That's one possible scenario, but I think it's at least as interesting to have sort of the opposite of that. And I'm not talking about a paradise. I don't think I don't think that would be very fun, right? Because there wouldn't be any trouble. And it's like, oh, if there's no trouble, then there's no fun. So um, I think we're always going to make some kind of trouble, right? But yeah, thinking about it's like you know going to the supermarket, right? Uh, you just do exactly what you always do, right? Um, and you still have to check out, right? You still have to check out because they need to keep track of the inventory, right? So you still have to go through a checker. You still have to wait in line, the whole thing. But there's no reason to pay, right? It's just take what you want. So yeah, it's just kind of interesting, and I think some sci-fi writers should get on that because I think it's a I think it's an interesting thing to investigate. And as I said, Isaac Arthur has a series based on this, and I don't think I've listened to all of them. I've listened to the past couple or so, but definitely check him out on YouTube if you don't already. He's got really really well produced videos. usually run half an hour or so. And he has a team, right? He's got a team of volunteers who help him with the research and the writing, and then creation of the video itself. Because there's a lot of graphics and animations and all that. It's really awesome. And
One man's
he
paradise is another man's hell, says Uncle Bill Doran.
absolutely, I could not agree more. Could not agree more. Yeah, that's absolutely true. So, uh, oh yeah, so Isaac Arthur is really great. Good stuff. Check him out. Subscribe for sure. You will not be disappointed. He and what's the other guy's name? They call themselves futurists, and oh, I forget the other guy's name, but he and Isaac Arthur just put out a sort of dual collab vids on oh, I forget what it is. Let me see if I
And
can.
also, Uncle Bill Doran put something that says post-scarcity. It's another thing altogether.
Yeah, you know, as I said, Uncle Bill, I don't really know what that looks like, right? I mean, how how would life be if we could have anything we want or need? Um, you know, yeah, I don't know, and that's why I'm suggesting some sci-fi writers jump on that and use their imagination and come up with some interesting scenarios, right?
Now, I
Anyway,
did want to see
hey there, Totterbert.
subtitle bird. I did want to see a short that the latest Sharknado, but by the time it premiered, my mom died due to liver cancer. She died last
Uh,
year.
uh, uh, let's see. Website Goodreads. Goodreads, huh? Okay. I'll uh I'll have to check that one out. Yeah, John Michael Godier. Godier, John Michael Godier. Yeah, pretty great, pretty great stuff. Pretty great stuff. You found a 30-second physics book. I I don't think I know what that is. What is that?
Uh,
Cheers.
yeah, what is a 30-second physics book?
I'm not sure. I think he'll hopefully respond. You know, there's this latency that we have to deal with. Little snippets of information. Okay. Huh. Okay. Cool. Interesting. Well, any way you can to absorb a little bit more uh, knowledge, if not understanding, is great. Cool. Cool. Right. So it's just like a sheet that has a bunch of what basic facts. Um, cool. Cool. Nice. Yeah. Physics is an interesting subject for sure. Um, yeah. It's pretty neat. It's pretty neat how it all works. All right. Well, I thought what I would do tonight is a constellation of the day. So I'm going to before I do that though, just a quick update on the camera saga. So I have not heard back from the post office on what might have happened to the package. So I'm considering it lost, and so I got a hold of the seller, and we went back and forth a couple of times. Nice though, and they said, yeah, get a hold of eBay. There's a satisfaction guaranteed thing.
And they got that called buyer protection.
Yeah. So I guess this was covered by that. So even though the the uh, the tracking thing says delivered to a mailbox, right? So I mean, uh, as far as the post office is concerned, it was delivered, but I ain't got it. I ain't got it.
Yeah, I think it's better to go at Walmart and probably you might have to shell some more money, but better Walmart than eBay.
Yeah. Well, what I've done is the uh, uh, so I initiated a contact with eBay, and one of the options is like, do you want a refund or do you want that item? And it's like, well, I want that item. So I guess they get a hold of the seller, and yeah, I mean, it takes a few days. So yeah, it's sort of a bummer. Um, Honestly, though, I don't know if it's going to be any better than this or not. I don't have a clue. I don't have a clue because I think this is putting out at 720, and that's what the C615 puts out as well. So I don't know if it's going to be any better or not. I'm going to start up my
Have
smart
you
phone.
check with your neighbors, see if they got it?
No, nobody has it. Nobody has it. All two neighbors.
Yeah, because sometimes I have to go to my neighbor for our mail, and I have to go to them for their mail.
Yeah, and that actually does happen pretty rarely. I mean, out here, there are so few um, houses. It's hard to make a mistake. Um, the only time that a mistake will be made is if it's like a new person. Then
Yeah,
mistakes might be
yeah,
made.
but but from where I'm at, this is like the main location, and at the back on the back side is actually known as Lot One. So they get confused between here and Lot One.
Gotcha. Yeah. So, but I mean, the same delivery guys um, come out here, and they have been for years and years and years. So they know the area well, um, and they all have GPS now, right? So they just have to drive until the thing beeps, and then you stop, right? So yeah, very
Yeah,
very cool.
yeah. See,
So
yeah, yeah. If that's possible, maybe you should go back to the post office and tell more about that.
yeah, I think since I haven't heard from them, I probably will just follow up and say, thanks for letting me know.
Now, did you go straight to the post office, or you called them up?
I I I initially did I? No, I was just going to call, but then it's like, well, it's sort of um, on the way to work anyway, so just stop in.
Just
Um,
stop in the middle.
Yeah, yeah, and so yeah, I actually talked to the postmaster there, and uh, they said that they were gonna ask the driver and call me back. They never called, so
Yeah.
I figure it's just lost, and I'll just get another one. That's all.
Yeah. Mhm.
Some
Did you
kind of
ever have you ever went back to the post office lately and find out what's the update before you do eBay?
well, yeah, I probably should have done that, but nah, I think this is okay. I always like to take the easiest path. So this sort of seems like the easiest path. Um, Instead of trying to do some kind of detective um, story, where was the carrier
Now,
at a particular
now
time.
this story is true. If all else fails, call the FBI.
Yeah, 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 and I don't think that's I don't think that there's any reason to do that whatsoever. I think f- maybe it's possible, it's still possible that that the mail carrier left it actually at my house here. Um, my mailbox is about a quarter mile away or so. So
Yeah.
they oftentimes bring parcels to the house. So it's possible that he put it
It's it's
somewhere that
it.
I haven't found yet. It's possible.
Sometimes I think it's better if you have a Ring doorbell.
Yeah, yeah, or some kind of a box or something. Um, yeah, yeah. Anyway, it's not a huge deal, and I think the wheels are turning to me getting one. So looking forward to it. I'm hoping that there's a little bit of improvement in terms of quality of
Yeah, if
video. I
yeah,
don't know.
maybe next time if you did get your package stolen, call like the sheriff or the police.
Yeah, yeah. I think I mean, I have a hard time uh, with the idea of theft. I just that would be a little weird out here. So um, yeah, everybody just sort of leaves everybody else alone, uh, which is just how we like it. um, so yeah, theft just isn't a thing that really would happen. Not sure. I've probably used up way too much uh, brain energy thinking about it anyway. So let's do a constellation of the day. So the International Astronomical Union has decided that there are 88 constellations sky, in the entire sky. And as I recall, there's like 36 in the north and 52 in the south. That adds up to 88. Yeah. um,
Yeah, you have those constellations in an alphabetical order. What if you were
yes.
able to separate them from the northern constellations and southern constellations?
I would still have to order them in some way, though. So, what are you thinking? Like alphabetical northern constellations and alphabetical southern,
Something like that, yeah.
something like that. That's an interesting thought. Um, I sort of, I sort of like this because it's, uh, you know, we, I mean, we're probably a little biased, right? Because we want to see things because most of us on here are in the north, most of us. So, you know, focusing on a southern constellation that we'll probably never see is like, should we do that or not? And I think the answer is yes, um, because uh, the whole point. of this live stream is to talk astronomy, and it doesn't particularly matter uh, what the topic is. The point is to do some astronomical thought, think about space and science, and skepticism, and blowing one's mind, the whole thing, right? Cheers. Well, Totterbird, I don't have any immediate plans, but if the opportunity does arise for me to be at least as far south as I am north now, and even more south if possible, uh, I I will definitely jump on that plane or jump on that boat and go, because yeah, I would really, really like to see, like the Magellanic Clouds. I think that would be very, very cool. I would like to see the center of the galaxy at the zenith, right? Wait, straight up, right? That would be very awesome. That would be very, very awesome. So those kinds of things. I have no plans. I have absolutely no plans at all. So, but given the opportunity, yep, I certainly would. Who knows? Who knows? I mean, uh, I I never thought that I would ever get over to Kennedy Space Center, right? I mean, it's like, why would I go to Florida, right? It's like, that's like the furthest thing from the desert that I can possibly imagine, right? So it's like the furthest from anywhere that I'd want to be.
Would you like go to the Caribbean nations or no?
I don't think so. Yeah, I'm definitely a desert rat. Yeah, yeah, definitely a desert rat. I uh, company I worked for 10 years ago uh, was based over on Maui, and and so 3 or 4 times a year, and I mean it was just absolutely just terrible, just terrible to have to, you know, go to Hawaii, go to Maui, get a condo on the beach, have a huge per diem, and it was just, I mean, I suffered greatly, right? It was a really, really rough time. um, but uh, I I definitely could not live in that kind of environment at all. The air is so humid. It was like walking uh, through like a swimming pool. I mean, it was so thick, right? Uh, and being a desert rat that is used to 10%, 5%, feeling a constant 70 or 80% is just, I mean, it's like a wall, just bam, you know. So okay, I don't know how we got onto that, but I think that's an interesting idea to separate them. Um, yeah, yeah, that might be interesting, because then we could actually do like two random things. The first one is to choose north or south, and then the next one would be to choose which one of those. So yeah, I think that's a good idea. For the time being, I have a list of all the constellations, and they are in alphabetical order. And I am going to go to this site and then share my screen. Dun, 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 dun. Whoop. Almost pressed the wrong button. I'm going to share. And I'm going to hide. And there's Bobby going off to infinity there. Let's see. Well, not random.com. We want random.org. Random.org. Start up my smartphone. Do that. Here we go. I need to mute it. There we go. Okay, so there are 88 of them. So I'm going to have it choose an integer between 1 and 88. Okay, here we go. So yeah, there's since there are fewer northern hemisphere constellations, the chances of getting a northern hemisphere constellation is less than that of a southern. So it's more likely that we're going to get a southern one here. But yeah, you never know, right? Hence the name random. Here we go. Ready? Boink. Okay, number 4. It's Aquarius. Aquarius. Cool. Let's check out Aquarius. Oh, there's a lot of interesting things in Aquarius. I'm thinking of one particular.
I think Aquarius is a zodiac constellation, if I'm not mistaken.
It's a what constellation?
A zodiac, but I'm not sure.
Yes, it is. It is a member of the zodiac. Which in astronomical terms means that the ecliptic passes through that constellation, and that's just if you draw a line, okay, from the center of the sun to the center of the earth, right? Draw a line, and then make the earth go around the sun once. That would sort of make out a disk, right? That is the ecliptic, and from our point of view, that is the path that the sun takes through the sky over the course of a year. And it passes through 12 of the 88 constellations. And those are the constellations of the zodiac. And Aquarius is one of them. Yep. So I usually find Wikipedia to be a pretty good jump off point once it decides to load. There it goes. Because we get these really great maps that show the outline and the primary stars, and if there's any other interesting things. And as I said, I already know that there's one interesting thing that I definitely at least want to show you a picture of. But let's see. Now this is a little small. Maybe it's the same size as usually. So it's a pretty big constellation, right? It's going from, what, about 20 hours, 40 minutes, all the way over to 0 hours. So that's 3.5 hours of right ascension, almost 3.5 hours. And let's see, from like -25 up to, I don't know, +2 or so. So 25, about 27 degrees in index. So that's pretty big. There are 15 degrees in every hour of right ascension. So if it's 3.5 hours times 15, you're talking about what, 50 degrees? Is that right? Wow. That does seem pretty big. But yeah, no, that's right. So 50 degrees by about 27 or so. So right next door is Capricornus. Oh, you see this blue line? That is the ecliptic. So of course it also goes through Capricornus. Most, well, I can now say that all of the planets lie somewhere near the ecliptic. Most of the main belt asteroids, due to the Trojans around Jupiter, I think are basically along this as well. Trans-Neptunian objects sort of look like they're sort of all over the place. I think Mars is in Capricornus right now, as I recall. So let's see. Usually, how the constellation stars are named, there are usually a couple of different designations. The first one is ones that are visible, right? So usually the brightest star in the constellation is Alpha, and in this case, I think that's true. The next brightest one is Beta. The next brightest one, oh, here's a Delta. I don't see a Gamma anywhere. So yeah, there's a little bit of inconsistency when it comes to these names, but there's also, and it's not shown here, but I'm not quite sure if it goes down to visible stars or if it goes down to like 7th or 8th magnitude or so, but every single star is numbered according to right ascension. So, like this star, I hope you can see that okay. This star would have a very, very low number, right? 1 through 10 or 1 through 20 or so. And then as you move in RA, these stars over here would have a high number, tens or hundreds, sort of depending. So there it is. Aquarius is the water bearer. So I guess I think the idea is that, right, here's his head, here's his sort of his torso. He's got arms that are pouring the water out here. I think that's how one reads that. And I'm not quite sure what his story is. Don't really know. But just south of the celestial equator, right? Celestial equator is at 0 degrees declination. So technically this one, right, is a southern hemisphere constellation. Technically. So that's pretty cool. So as you can probably see, there are 3 Messier objects in Aquarius. There's also at least a couple of planetary nebulae. And this one in particular is the one that as soon as I saw what the constellation was, my mind just flashed to this planetary nebula because it's pretty fantastic. Well, let's go back really, really quick and just sort of see what Wikipedia has to say about this constellation. And this one, for anybody who is new to the sky, this constellation's pretty tough, right? I mean, these stars are pretty faint, right? So this is a toughie, right? You got to be out where it's pretty dark, or you're really not going to see much. You might see Alpha and Beta, right? But it's a tough one for sure. But if you familiarize yourself with other constellations around it, like Capricornus, this one's pretty easy to pick out. It looks like a big triangle or a like a chevron. like a Star Trek thing, and Pegasus is up here, right? The Great Square. These two stars at the bottom, and then there's one here and one about here. M31 is up to the left. So, if you familiarize yourself with some of the maybe easier to find constellations around there, then you can sort of say, okay, I can take, this N star in Capricornus and make this triangle. And by doing so, I can at least see those, right? And then you might be able to fan out and, see if you can see any of the rest of the stars, that make up this constellation. But yeah, there's quite a few faint ones. So that's a toughie. From the city, oh, I don't know. I don't know if you'd be able to see that or not. Okay, so let's see what else Wikipedia has to say about this. We can even go over to Burnham's too, which I like to do. Okay, so there's that. Yeah, 980 square degrees. I guess that means it's the 10th largest constellation. So yeah, that's pretty big. So yeah, see how these main stars are numbered, right? 10, 22. So those are just the two brightest stars. And my guess is that 10 is probably beta and 22 is probably alpha. I guess they found some stars with planets in that constellation. That's kind of cool. 7 of the stars are within 10 parsecs of us. Okay. Oh, okay. So I guess the brightest star is beta. So yeah, they break their rules all the time. Premediate objects. Cool, cool. So alpha and beta are both yellow supergiants. Okay, that's kind of interesting because, I mean, our sun is a G2, so, but our sun is definitely not a yellow supergiant. It must be, I don't know if that's a 1B or an LB. Yeah, must luminous. Yeah, I don't know. That designation I'm not familiar with, but I guess they're calling these yellow supergiants, even though they have pretty much the spectral type of the sun. So don't know about that. Too moving for space, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Well, they seem to know quite a bit about these guys. Gamma is the white main sequence star, a spectral type A0. So that's a lot like Vega. I believe that Vega is an A0 star. Very, very young, though. Very young. 158 million years old. That's a baby. 2.5 times the sun's mass and twice its radius. So I guess that's a little big. So let's see, is there anything else interesting here? Zeta is a double star. This guy is 50 times the luminosity of the sun, so that's pretty bright. Orbital period is 760 years. Cool. They probably don't have enough data to really nail that down because that's that's a long orbit, right? And they've probably, right, been looking at this for, maybe 100 years. So, to figure out its orbit to any kind of precision here, yeah, it's pretty unlikely. But that's probably ballpark. 12 exoplanets. That's cool. Everybody's all excited about exoplanets. Okay, yeah. So let's sort of anxious to show you NGC 7009. So let's go to the straight to the HST site, and we'll oh, it's got the Helix Nebula too. Yeah. NGC 7009 is called the Saturn Nebula. And I remember seeing the Saturn Nebula through a 12.5-inch Alvin Clark refractor at Washington State University in Pullman, Washington, back in the day. But I'm pretty certain that HST has seen it. Yeah. Well, let's see what this is. It doesn't, well, let me grab the latest one. Here we go. We've picked two at 502, actually 5,012 angstroms. Let's see what we got here. Kind of hard to see, at least at this wavelength, but do you see the things way out here? So it sort of looks like Saturn with its rings. That's why
Uncle
they call it.
Duran wants to know what's a C catalog in according to galaxies.
Oh, I don't know. Uncle Bill, what we can do, let's go to Simbad, because Simbad, you can click on the little catalog thing, and that will come up. So hold on. We will find out. NGC 7009. At least as I recall, you can do that. Come on. So, well, shoot, Uncle Bill. I don't see a C55. I see, closest I see is like SCM 255. But that isn't really close. So I can't answer you. See, I should be able to click on this, and it'll tell us a little bit about at least a name. It's some kind of planetary nebula catalog. In this case, we could go to the paper and actually find out. So, but yeah, sorry, I don't know. I was hoping. Let's look at this maybe at different wavelengths. So 65, 64. So that's pretty red. Doesn't look much different than the other one. But look at that amazing structure in here. What is going on? Let's see, here's another one, 6591. That's really, really close to that, but it's a longer exposure though. See, it's more than twice as long. So we'll probably overexpose the middle, but bring out the outside. Oh, over here. Yeah, look at that. Ooh, that's cool. So I guess that's probably the central star right there, or at least it's my guess. Look at all this other stuff. Yeah. Let's see. Here's another one. Okay, so okay, this gets into another proposal back from 2001. Let's see what they were. See what they were looking at. Oh, so pretty much the same thing. The this side, of course, is cut off because WIFPIC 2 has this jagged edge here. So we're not picking up the whole thing, but they put the, I think there's a central CCD here that I think the pixel size is smaller. So they're essentially getting higher resolution, I think. But pretty interesting stuff in there. Don't know what's going on. But that's a planetary nebula. The idea there, at least, is that the star has evolved, and it's finished with its hydrogen fuel for fusion, and when that happens, the core will do a kind of a collapse, which will ignite the helium. So the helium will start fusing instead. Well, that produces a lot of energy, which expands the star outwards. It turns into a red giant star. And it's sort of during this time and what happens when the helium begins to fade away. You know, the helium is being converted into like carbon and oxygen and neon, and so once the helium is used up, that core collapses again, and it collapses so hard that there's like a bounce back. There's a shock wave that blows the star's outer atmosphere outward. And so, at least according to the current story, that's what has caused this. So, in this case, some kind of interesting thing. Maybe it's a binary star. It's hard to tell, right? Don't know. My guess is that they probably do have some ideas, but whether anybody's sure, probably not.
Now, Tom Bad Scott says the C catalog is called a Cadwell catalog.
Okay, Caldwell.
Oh.
Caldwell. Yeah, I've. Okay, cool. I guess it'd be interesting to know what kind of catalog the Caldwell catalog was. Is it a catalog of planetary nebulae? Is it a catalog of what? I don't know. Maybe somebody in the chat can answer. So, NGC 7009, definitely. Oh, that's a spectrum. Doesn't look too interesting. There's some broad lines here. but this is looking in the far ultraviolet, right? That's very ultraviolet. So yeah, not quite sure how much of this is noise and how much of that is signal. But as I said, I'm seeing a little bit here and a little bit here. Hard to know. Yeah, I would think that if it's in any kind of binary situation, Stellarium isn't going to show that because, I mean, these things are going to be extremely close to one another. So, like a spectroscopic binary, that kind of thing, where they're, you know, so close, there's really no hope in visually seeing them. You can see them because of the difference in their spectra, but you can't visually see them, and that's what I think. At least one of the explanations for why they have these strange shapes. Whether that's what's going on or if it's something completely different, I think it's up in the air. I just think it's great, and this is for an 8-inch telescope. Sure, you'll be able to see this. I mean, it's definitely not going to look like that. Let's see if we haven't gone over to cloudy nights lately. Let's just see if anybody has a photo uh, of NGC 7009. It might give you a better idea what it might look like, if you just stuck your eyeball on an eyepiece. Let's see. Am I still logged in? Yay, I am. So Cloudy Nights is very, very awesome. If you haven't signed up on this yet, do it. These guys are great. Very, very active, very informative, very friendly, honest. I like it. So let's see. 7009. Because looking at it with HST is almost is almost cheating. So it's not quite fair. See, here's NGC 7009 and something else. I hate these little surprises. Yeah, if it's 1.73 arc seconds, Uncle Bill, I would definitely not call that. Yeah, I think the separation would be much, much, much less than that. But yeah, could be wrong. Where is it? Last year I tried to image a quick NGC 709, but found some evidence something was hiding in the background, and here it is. Huh? Okay. So he was imaging something and got something else. That's a little weird. I don't quite get that. See if there's another one. Come on. Got to be here somewhere. Here we go. Come on, you can do it. I know you can. Our machine is just being pushed to its limits. Oh, where is it? Do I have to click on this? Yeah. There we go. Yes, that's pretty decent image. It's now when you look at this through a telescope, it is definitely not going to look like that, right? I mean, it's you're not going to see any color at all. It's going to look gray, but it is actually pretty big. It's pretty big. Do we still have? We don't. Where's the Sinbad? I want to see if it shows us the apparent size. So it's saying 0.707 by 0.523 arc minutes. So what is that? 6 times. So 42 arc seconds wide and about 31 arc seconds in the other direction. So yeah, okay, well, maybe that is a little bit small, but pretty easy to figure out when you're looking at it through an 8-inch scope. Pretty easy to figure out that it's a really funny looking thing, right? It's got a very, very odd shape. Definitely does not look like a star. Definitely. I mean, you know, there's a star. But that's a pretty good shot. Got any more? No, that's it. Yeah, that's a pretty good shot. Let's see. How do I... Oh, was I? Oh, I was. Okay. Can I go forward? Should be able to go forward, can't I? Well, is here. I know that there's 3 Messier objects, including M73. M73 is one of those odd objects, because when you actually observe it, and actually, you know, it's right next to M72, but when you look at this, it's like 3 stars that are sort of close to one another, and that's it. So, and I don't think that those stars are associated with one another at all. They just so happen to be close to one another right now. So yeah, pretty interesting. M72 is a globular cluster. M2 is really awesome. I'm certain that HST saw M2. M2. Yeah. So let's see here. We've looked at globular clusters before, so this isn't going to look too different, but it's always really, really awesome to see globulars with the HST, because you get right down into the middle, right into the center of these things. And with a telescope down here on Earth, you just can't do that. You can't do it. So pretty amazing, of course. Likely there's at least 100,000 stars here. And I'll bet you Gaia's got most of them cataloged. It's hard, right? I mean, you know, this dense, it starts getting really, really hard to distinguish individual stars. because they're so closely packed. But I think as long as they've got at least a couple of pixels in between them, they can do it. But yeah, some of these, are looking like they're overlapping a little bit. So it's like, yeah, that's pretty tough. But yep, a pretty globular cluster there. Let's see, where were we? We were here. Oh no, we were here. Yeah. So let's see. I'm going to. Oh, where did I put those? So let me go grab my. I'm gonna stop sharing. I'm gonna go grab my Burnhams, which is right there. I actually put it on a shelf. It was on the floor, easy access, right? It was right here. And then I made the stupid move of putting it up on a shelf. So I'll be right back. These books do not belong on a shelf. They belong in my lap looking at them. So Burnham's Celestial Handbook is very, very awesome. It's a little dated now, right? But especially for, even an advanced amateur, there's a lot of information in these. So this is volume 1. It's organized by constellation name, alphabetical. So there are 3 volumes. This is volume 1. I'm having to. There's volume 1, and the reason why I'm fumbling around a little bit is because the cover came off the other day. That's like, so I'm gonna have to put that back on because I don't want to lose this. So I've lost 1 already. I've lost 2 already. So I don't want to lose this one either. So I got to put that back on. Yeah, that's pretty bad. Anyway, so I'm gonna put the cover aside and go to Aquarius and quickly show you what Burnham's has. See, now Burnham's has a pretty decent image of the Saturn Nebula. That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Very nice.
And here's M2. You see, from the ground, look at the center of that thing. It's gone, right? It's just this big white blob. You can see all the stars on the outside, but in the middle, I think this is probably overexposed, but even if it wasn't, all those stars would overlap. With the HST, because it's above the atmosphere, you don't have that blurring effect, right? And so you can see right down into the middle of that thing, and it's great, gorgeous. There's also a our Aquarius is an interesting object. But what Burnham's does is right at the beginning of every constellation, they list like all the binary stars, all at least all the known at the time, binary stars, all the known variable stars, and then all the known non-stellar objects, the galaxies and nebulae.
Now, is Burnham still around today?
I don't think so. I don't think that it's being published anymore. So really, the only place um, I I can't confirm this. Check on Amazon and see if it's available. I'm not exactly sure, but what I would do is go around to some used bookstores, see if you can pick them up there. But anyway, so here's the list of binary stars. I'm going to put you down because it's a couple of pages. Hold on. So there's all the binary stars, at least the known ones, right? So I mean, there's a lot, right? So I mean, if you're into observing binary stars, right, you've got 100 binary stars here at least, right? Um, so lots and lots of observing opportunities, right? Then they list their variable stars, those there, and then starting down here and going over to the next page and a quarter are the non-stellar objects, and as you can see, most of those are galaxies. So there's quite a few known galaxies. There's a planetary nebula that's probably 7293. That's the Helix Nebula, which is another one. Check out the Helix. It is awesome, very, very awesome. Once you see it, you'll recognize it because you've probably seen it before. Probably, it's pretty popular. So there's M2, M72, M73. I wonder, do they show a picture of M73 in here? It'd be nice if they did. Yep. Oh. Nope. No. No, they don't show a picture of it. They talk about it. Here's the Helix Nebula. So that's a planetary nebula too, and you can sort of see a star right in the middle there. That is the remnants of this star. That's probably a white dwarf star. And all the stuff out here, all that is just the blown out atmosphere of that red giant star. Still glowing, maybe reflecting a little bit of the white dwarf's light. But I think for the most part, it is glowing on its own. It's still pretty warm. So, yeah, let's see if they talk about. Burnham usually likes to talk about variable stars. Let's see if any of these pop out. Our Aquarius is a very interesting one, for sure. But it's it doesn't have any kind of a period. It's just sort of, wiggling around. Here's a 8-year light curve for our Aquarius. And you can see it's just sort of all over the place. So I don't know if anybody really knows what's going on there yet. I haven't even thought about our Aquarius for quite a while. We were doing speckle spectroscopy on this object back in the late 80s, early 90s. And yeah, it was puzzling then, and I'll bet you it's still puzzling now. So, all right, Aquarius. Is there anything else with Aquarius that seemed interesting here? I'm gonna keep you on the camera, but I'm gonna surf back over to Wikipedia. Maybe maybe I will share my screen. There we go. Wikipedia and see if there's anything else that they talk about. Yeah, yeah, Uncle Bill, uh, I haven't really. I guess I need to look into M73 a little bit more and sort of catch up on the current thinking on that, because I think the last time I looked into it, it had been decided that stars weren't associated with one another. But yeah, well, if it is a cluster, I mean, it's it's just a couple of stars. So let's see, what else do we got here? Anything else? Planetary systems, we did that. Meteor showers. Nope, that's it. That is it. So Aquarius is pretty awesome, for sure. It's big. It's definitely big. Has a lot of faint stars, pretty faint, so kind of hard to see the whole thing. A few Messier objects, a couple of very, very, very awesome NGC objects, full of galaxies. If you're into galaxies, there are quite a few there. So very cool. All right, well, I think it is time to stop sharing my screen and get on out of here for today. So hope everybody had a good time with that. Constellation Aquarius, very, very cool. Yep, one of the constellations of the zodiac as well. Cheers.
Very good constellation indeed.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think I know um any Aquarians. Don't think so. I guess I mean it's I think Aquarius is almost exactly opposite the sun right now. So somebody who is an Aquarius, what would have a birthday in like December or January? Not
Um,
quite sure.
um, I'm a
Whenever the
Leo.
sun, yeah, whenever that sun is in that constellation, that's that's what they say. Your sign is. So you're a Leo.
Yes, I'm a Leo.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm a Scorpius. All right, well, cool. Let's get out of here. Have a great evening, a great day, and subscribe if you haven't already. Smash the thumbs up or the thumbs down, whichever you prefer. Make some comments. If you want to be on the panel like Bobby is now, um, throw me an email at cosmiclettuce@gmail.com. And when I start up the um, Hangout, I'll send you a link, and you click on the link, and you magically appear. So, yeah, very, very awesome. All right. Well, thanks for coming in, and we will do this again in a little less than 23 hours, almost 22 and a half hours. 22 hours and 34 minutes. Cool. I will be counting the moments. All right. Take care, everybody. See you on the spin. Bye.